Hi everyone. So in our last class we have seen that about what is aestivation and all. So with that this lesson has been completed. I hope you people have understand this lesson somewhat better. So today we are going to discuss some book back questions. That is the questions are given at the back of this lesson. At the end of this lesson some questions are given in your book. So now we are going to discuss that questions. So I hope you people all the one received the textbook. Open your book, get into the lesson, getting to know about plants and go to the book back questions. Okay. So compare this slide along with your book back questions so that you will get a clear idea, because I am not going to answer for all the questions. Some three questions I have skipped in this slide, because out of those two questions are on your own you are going to write, and one more question we are going to see somewhat in detail better. I'll teach you in some separate class. Okay. I hope are you all ready? Okay. Question 1. Correct the following statements and rewrite them in your notebook. Stem absorbs water and mineral from the soil. The given statement is incorrect, isn't it? Stem absorbs water and mineral from the soil. Actually, roots are connected with the soil, isn't it? So roots absorb water. Root absorbs water and mineral from the soil. It's not stem. The correct statement is what? Root absorbs water and mineral from the soil. Statement B. Leaves hold the plant upright. Leaves hold the plant upright. So this is also not correct. Actually, leaves are one of the parts of the plant. Even though they are one of the parts of the plant, they are not holding the plant straight. So what comes here? Stem hold the plant upright. So instead of leaves, what do you have to write? Stem. Stem hold the plant upright. Statement C. Roots conduct water to the leaves. Roots conduct water to the leaves. Roots absorb water from the soil, but it won't conduct the water to the leaves. That part was done by stem. Roots are connected with the soil. What is their main function? To absorb the water and the minerals. After absorption, it transport the water. The stems absorb those water and conduct this water to all parts of their body, that is to the leaves and all. Okay, so roots, not roots, stem conduct water to the leaves. Then statement D. The number of petals and stamens in a flower is always equal. The given statement is wrong. There is no rule or nothing there to the number of petals and stamens present in a flower should be always equal. The given statement is wrong. So what we have to write is not always equal. But sometimes in very rare it may be or may not be. Okay, but there is no rule that it should be always equal. Statement E. If the sepals of a flower are joined together, its petals are also joined together. Nothing like that, because sepals and petals are independent. There is no relationship between the number of petals should be always equal to the number of petals. So it may or may not be joined together. Statement F. If the petals of a flower are joined together, then the pistil is joined to the petal. What do you mean by pistil? Pistil is nothing but the carpel, the female reproductive organ of a flowering plant, isn't it? Here also there is not, again it is not a correct statement. Even the petals and pistils are also independent to each other. So here also it may or may not be equal. So in the given statements, all there is a mistake. There is one wrong thing is given in all the sentence. What is your thing? You have to read and you have to correct it. So the answer for the first question is given here. I repeat, root absorbs water and mineral from the soil. Stem hold the plant upright. Stems conduct water to the leaves. The number of petals and stamens in a flower is not always equal. If the sepals of a flower are joined together, its petals may or may not join together. If the petals of a flower are joined together, then the pistil is otherwise called as carpel, okay, may or may not join to the petal. So The first question, the answers are given, so go through once again. I hope you understand. Now, question number 2 and question number 3 depends upon your surrounding area, because if you read the questions, you can understand. You have to look around yourself and you are going to write the answers. So, for that, I can't give the answers now. Okay. So, for the question number 2 and 3, try to answer by yourself. Okay. Now, we are going to switch on question number 4. What is the function of a stem? What is the function of a stem? The main important function, it supposed leaves, flowers and fruits. It is the main function, because I already told it has the main thing is to hold the plant upright, isn't it? Not only the whole plant means what? It contains leaves, flowers, fruits, everything. So it supports the leaves, flowers and fruits. And conduction of water. Root absorbs water, but the water should be transported to all parts of the stem, all parts of the plant with the help of the leaves. So the main function is what? Conduction of water and nutrients between the root and shoot. Not only these, it has some storage property, everything. Okay, so these are the two important functions given here, important functions of a stem. Question number 5. Which of the following leaves have reticulate venation? Which of the following leaves have reticulate venation? So first we should know what is venation, and then we can say what is reticulate venation. What is venation? The arrangement of veins and veinlets in the leaves are called venation. Veins and veinlets. Veinlets means some veins are branched into small veins. They are called veinlets. Okay. So venation means arrangement of veins in the leaves. And venation is of two types. One is parallel venation and another one is reticulate venation. Parallel means what? They are parallel to each other. That is straight veins. But reticulate means one primary vein will be there. From the primary vein, so many branches of veins will arise. They are called reticulate venation. Okay, here some plants were given. You have to find among these which leaves are reticulate venation. Wheat, tulsi, maize, grass, coriander, China rose. So you have to find what leaves they are having, and you have to identify only the reticulate venation. The first one, wheat. If you take a wheat plant, the arrangement of veins, it's looking like a grass. That is parallel in nature. So wheat comes under parallel venation. If you take tulsi, if you take the tulsi leaves, it have one primary vein. From the primary vein, some branches are arrived. Okay, side veins you can able to see. Okay, so it is a reticulate venation. If you take maize, maize also looks like wheat. Their leaves are also looks like wheat. So maize also parallel venation. Grass parallel venation. Coriander. If you check coriander leaves, if I can find mid vein as well as side vein, so it comes under reticulate venation. China rose is nothing but hibiscus. In that flower also, in that leaves also, reticulate venation. So among the given thing, tulsi, coriander and China rose are having reticulate venation. So here pictures are given. Tulsi, coriander, China rose leaf and grass, wheat leaves are given. So you can find it. Then wheat and all, you can able to see the parallel venation very clearly. If you look at the hibiscus, the center picture, you can able to see the midvein, and from the midvein side veins are arranged. So it comes under reticulate venation. Next question, question number 6. If a plant has fibrous root, what type of venation do its leaves have? So in our class itself, we have discussed that we can say the root type with the help of the leaves, isn't it? So roots which are present underground in the soil, and you can say there are two types of root. One is tap root and another one is fibrous root. Tap root means single primary root will arise. From the primary roots you can see lateral roots and all, but in fibrous root no primary root, all are lateral root, hence they are fibrous in nature. So without seeing the root we can say what type of root the plant have. How? With the help of the venation. If there is we have to remember easily PF. PF means parallel venation have fibrous root. So you can say PF. P represents parallel, F represents fibrous. And you can say RT. Reticulate venation leaves have taproot. Okay, so this is a simple idea you have to keep in your mind. PFRT. PF means what? Parallel venation. FP means parallel venation. F means fibrous root. RT, R means reticulate venation. T means taproot. Here they have asked the fibrous root. So F, along with the F we know P. So fibrous root plants always have parallel venation. So in the picture also given leaves of coconut tree. Here one example has given. And what is the venation? Or if you check the leaves, they are all parallel. So they have parallel venation. Parallel venation means what root? Fibrous root. Okay. And question number 7. If a plant has leaves with reticulate venation, what kind of roots will it have? Or T, reticulate venation, taproot. Simply we can say. Here given carrot is as an example. Carrots have taproots and their leaves have reticulate venation. So plants with leaves that have reticulate venation has taproots. So for that you have to remember RT. So PF, there is always connection between type of venation and type of root. Okay, keep in your mind. So without seeing the root, with the help of by seeing the leaf itself, we can say what type of root they are having. You can check on your own. Okay, so if you say parallel venation, fibrous root, so PF. Reticulate venation, taproot, RT. Question number 8. Is it possible for you to find out whether a plant has taproot or fibrous root by looking at the impression of its leaf on a sheet of paper? So now only discuss the same thing. Question number 6 and 7. So here together they have asking, by seeing the impression of the leaf on a sheet of paper, can you say what type of roots they are having? Yes, we can say, we can recognize. How? By seeing whether if it is having only midvine and side veins are arising, then it is reticulate venation. Reticulate means what? RT. So definitely it should be a taproot. If you are having parallel venation, P, that relates with F, that is fibrous root. So for the question, for the given question, the answer is yes. We can recognize the roots by seeing the leaves. If the venation is parallel, the root will be fibrous, PF. If the venation is reticulate, the root will be tap, RT. So here the question number 6, 7 and 8 are the same thing, they have given in a different way. That's it. Okay. And question number 9, what are the parts of a flower? So I hope you people have drawn twice or thrice the picture of a parts of a flower. I hope most of you drawn very neatly. I'm really happy. But the labeling the parts is very important. Not only drawing, along with the drawing, the parts labeling is also quite important. But most of you are not properly marking the parts. Okay, here the picture was given. The important parts of the flower is, first one is what? Petals, sepals, stamen, pistil. These are the main thing. Along with that, the leaves are held by the stalk. Okay. If you take stamen, in stamen two portions are there. Okay, the long tube-like structure is called filamen, and top two bilobed structure, that is called anther. Like that, if you take pistil, three parts are there. One is stigma, and another one is tail, another one is ovary. Stamen is the male reproductive organ of a flower plant, and pistil is the female reproductive organ. I hope you people have remembered that. Pollen grains and all, like, isn't it? Because bilobed pollen contains the pollen grains. Anther is contains the pollen grains. Okay, so go through that video once again to get the clear picture of the parts of a flower. Simply I have written the names here, but you have to go through the video, watch the video again and try to understand the parts and its function clearly. Okay, so it is the here, these are the parts which are marked here. These are the general common flower parts. On question number 10, I want to discuss in detail. So I'm going to switch on to question number 11. I'll do the question number 10 later. Okay. Question number 11. Name the part of plant which produce food and name the process. So we know that part of the plant which produce food, that is the kitchen of the plant, is nothing but the leaves, because in the leaves only food preparation takes place. For food preparation, we needed three important things. One is sun, the main source, and that sunlight was trapped by the chlorophyll which are present in the leaves. Second one, air is needed, especially carbon dioxide. That also takes place with the help of stomata, and stomata are also present on the leaves. Stomata are nothing but pores which are present on the leaves. Okay, and then water. Water, roots absorb water and stems conduct the water and transport to the leaves. Okay, so all these things are present, are going to take place in these leaves. So food process takes place only in the leaves, and this process is called photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means preparation. So the preparation of food takes place only with the help of light, that is called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis takes place only during daytime, not in nighttime. So here the picture was given. Oxygen is getting carbon dioxide, it shows pink arrow, is getting into the leaves with the help of stomata. Water is getting into the leaves with through stems. And sunlight, with the help of photosynthesis, chlorophyll which is present in the leaf trap the sunlight. Once all these components are accumulated in the leaves, plants start to produce the food in the form of glucose. Along with that, oxygen is also liberated out. Okay. So the process is this process is called photosynthesis. Question number 12. In which part of a flower you will find the ovary? So we know different parts of a flower. We have discussed just before the two questions. Sepals, petals, stamens, pistil. These are the main parts, isn't it? So among these parts, where you can find the ovary? So ovary is found in carpel, that is otherwise called pistil of a flower. We know that sepals, so they are present below the petals. They are also green leaf structure. Petals are colored leaves. That is not leaves, they are colored substance. Okay. And other one, stamen is a male reproductive organ and pistil is a female reproductive organ. Female reproductive organ only contain ovary. I told pistil is divided into three parts: stigma, style, and ovary. Inside the ovary only we are having ovule. Okay, stigma, style, ovary are the three parts of pistil. So ovary is found in the carpel, that is pistil of a flower. Question number 13. Name two plants in which one has joined petals and other has separate petals. See, there is no rule that sepals should be always joined together or it should be always separated together. It depends among the plant type. Okay, so in some flowers we can see sepals are joint arranged in a joint together. Okay, and in some flowers the sepals will be presented separately. That is there is no connection between each of the sepals. So they ask you to write some to each joint sepals as two example and the separate sepals for two example. So if you take joint sepals, you can see sepals are joined together in a flowers hibiscus, that is China rose and datura. Here the hibiscus picture was given here. So if you see the three small green leaf-like structures are given now. Below the petals, they are joined together. So in hibiscus, the sepals are joined together. And datura, next to hibiscus, one white flower has given. Can you able to see? Some long sepals are also there. So these in datura also the sepals are what joined together. So in these two plants, sepals are joined together. And if you take rose and jasmine, if you take a look on rose and jasmine, here the sepals are separated. If you take a rose plant, you can able to find this picture clearly. The sepals which are present below the petals are how they were arranged. They are separately arranged. There is no connection. There is no joining between the sepals. Likewise, if you take the jasmine, here also the sepals are arranged in a separate way. So there is no relationship, there is no rule that all the sepals of all the flowers should be arranged together, joined together. Okay, so here two examples were given. In joined petals you can able to see in hibiscus and datura, and you can see separate petals in rose and jasmine. So with this I have concluded this lesson. So I hope go through all the videos once again to get the clear picture, because the videos were posted, only 2 or 3 videos are posted for every day. So it's a very long time to complete this lesson. So for the first video and second video, you people, most of you may forget what we have taught. So go through all the videos once again. If you get time, just go through the video, recall this lesson, so that only you can understand the book bag questions easily. Okay, in next class I will start one new lesson. Thank you.